I normally paint a lot of seascapes and beachscapes and things like that. And I do it because there's so much magic in the world, I can't help myself, I've got to paint it. But it's kind of really easy to forget that our planet is really just a tiny little thing in the depths of space. So I thought that maybe what we would do today is do galaxy painting or something that sort of relates to space. So we're going to go through our list of ingredients. I've got a small canvas here. I've got a few brushes, and I'm not too fussy about the quality of them. We're not going to be doing a lot of intricate brush work. I've got a sort of a smaller, drier brush for spreading out colour. What I've also got is Free Flow. Now you'll need a paint that's quite mobile. Free Flow is fantastic. It's got a really good colour loading and it blends beautifully. And a rag to clean your brush on. And a pot of water, and that's pretty much all you need. So I want an intense bit of light through the middle there. And I'm going to put kind of my yellows and reds on one side. And a little bit of blue on that side. A little bit of purple here. Now I'm not using much paint because this stuff travels a very long way. Oops. So that's purple there, you can't really see that. And I don't usually use black, but I'm actually going to use a little bit of black there. Too much. So if you do get a bit too much paint like that, you can always just scoop it off. So all I'm going to do now is just black's very, very, very strong, as you can see. It doesn't really matter so much if it's not exactly how you want it to be, because we'll be moving colour around and you can put layers on top of this. It's kind of nice to get a sense fairly early. And to be honest, sometimes doing this will actually point you in a different direction from the one that you intended in going on in the first place. All right. So what I'm doing here is I'm just softening up all that colour like that, and I'm just each time I'm washing my wiping my brush on my paint cloth. Okay, so I've got a bigger brush now. I'm just going to soften that up a little bit. Let's see that. See how strong that black is? I'm just going to push that out there like that. And the trick with this is to try not to let the colour get too muddy, and that's why I keep cleaning my brush all the time. Now that it's nice and soft, you'll notice I can do this a little bit. And this is what I was saying before about losing control. I think I like the idea of some cosmic rays pouring out of that. There, I'm not too worried about that darkness there. I can come back and fix it up later. But it's really just use the tip of the brush there very, very gently. And just use these smaller brushes like that to push colour around in little areas. And then you come back with the bigger brush, and again, just use it very gently like that. To soften the colour up. And you don't want it too smooth, you kind of want to create the impression of all these kind of weird gassy clouds. You know, some sort of star nursery or something. So I'm just running a bit of white across there like that. I'll just soften it up. Got to be very, very, very gentle with the brush here, like just barely any pressure on it at all. I've let that paint kind of do its own thing a little bit. It's not a bad idea to relinquish control. Let's face it, if you're constructing the universe, you may as well get out of the way a bit. But yeah, so I've let this kind of, I've only pushed it around a little bit and then let the rest of it do its thing. And it'll be the pieces that I put over the top that will really give it that really kind of starscape panoramic thing. Yeah, so don't worry too much at this point. So I'm going to put some stars in now, and apparently stars will change colour by how far away they are, I think. It's science. But anyway, what I'm going to do now is create the impression of different coloured stars by mixing up a few little colours here and there, some yellows and reds and things, and just kind of flick them gently on the picture, and then some white over the top of that, and it's kind of a really glory thing. It's not a lot to do, but it looks $1,000,000. The only thing I would suggest is that you need to make sure that your paint is the right consistency, because it's too easy to flick really big blobs around if you're not careful. So have somewhere where you can flick paint around first, just to test on something first. So I'm just mixing up some slightly different colours, and I've just added a tiny bit of water to that. But as usual, I'm going to test it on something first. I usually finish up with white, because it's nice and stark. Doesn't hurt when you lose a little bit of paint off your brush to do a couple of really intense clusters somewhere here and there. As you can see, you really don't need much paint on your brush. So I'm just going to let that dry now, and then I'll come back and put a few little bits over the top that'll take it just another little step further. So I've got some white on my brush now, and I'm going to just intensify a couple of little highlights here and there, just to kind of a bit more contrast and a bit more interest. So this is a really dry brush, and I'm sort of pushing into the surface a little bit so that it's a little bit grainy. And you can use other colours if you want to. I'm just going to pinch a bit of that yellow because that's nice and intense. Take most of it off. And a little bit of red. So I'm just going to do one more little thing while I've got this. It needs a very, 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 very dry brush. I take most of the colour off. And I'm just going to play on this light coming through here a little bit. What's truly amazing is that just about everything that we can think of around us came from the stars. I'm just going to put a couple of really intense stars in there now. As usual, I take most of the paint off. So I'm just going to put a couple of halos around some of these stars. I've got a very dry brush and I'm just... I'm going to give this picture a coat of universal medium and varnish from Chroma Paints, and use a nice big soft house paintbrush to spread it around, and that'll bring out all the depth. So I've made sure the painting's well and truly dry, and I've just poured this on like that and then just spread it out very gently with the brush. Try not to work over it too much, just in case any of the paint underneath is a little bit unstable. And we don't want to aerate the clear too much either and end up with brush marks in it. So keep it all pretty mobile. Like that. And it doesn't hurt to have a look from the side, just to make sure you got it all. And I can feel that that's tacking off right now, so I'm going to walk away from it so I don't pull anything up. There. So I'll just let that dry now and have another look at it in 10 minutes. So that's a fun little thing you can do, and it's a lovely image. I never get sick of painting these. You can use this as a backdrop for waves, or put a whale in there or something like that. If you like this, make sure you give us a thumbs up. If you don't, somewhere a fairy will die, and that is on you. Not accepting any responsibility for that at all. Subscribe, and what's the one? My brain stopped thinking. Become a member. God damn it. Okay. Why is this so hard?